Warning! The following contains nothing but spoilers to Transistor.
When you speak, I hear silence.
Welcome to Cloudbank, a digital utopia where even the weather and architecture are democratically decided on by the votes of each citizen. Dissatisfied with the stagnation of this ever-changing world, a group of elites form the Camerata and use the Transistor to assimilate various talented individuals in the hopes of creating a world with actual progress. The informant of the group recommended a popular singer by the name of Red as their next target. But just as they were about to get her into the Transistor, a mysterious man jumps in the way and took the blow that was meant for her. In a flash, Red finds herself on a rooftop across town with the man who saved her and the Transistor sticking out of him. Whew, that was a tough one, and that's just the premise. As you can see, Transistor is very avant-garde. It aims to present thought-provoking ideas and leaves a lot to interpretation. I give Supergiant Games a lot of credit here, because it would have been so easy for them just to make Bastion 2. Instead, they used the elements that made Bastion great, took those in a new direction, and changed just about everything else. The setting this time is a digital cyberpunk utopia rather than a colorful fantasy world. The combat involves turn-based planning rather than constant action, and the storyline is very ambiguous.
Hi. You turn left. Thought we were gonna skip town.
Naturally, this game features a narrator voiced by Logan Cunningham.
You've met these things. They do not have a sense of humor. They will track you down, wipe you out, and take whatever's left of me back to those 2-bit Camerata pieces of trash.
But the approach is drastically different.
Look, whatever you're thinking, do me a favor. Don't let me go.
Rather than an omniscient mentor figure, this time he plays the role of your faithful companion who's trapped inside the Transistor. Much of his dialogue involves reacting to events as they occur instead of providing exposition.
It's strange coming here. Like this. Can't imagine what it's like for you.
The atmosphere this creates is much more intimate, and we truly get a sense this person cares very much about Red, which is interesting, because we barely know anything about this character. We never see his face. We never even find out his name. In fact, all we do know about him is that he has never voted for anything in Cloudbank.
Looks like I get to put off selection for a while longer.
For a world built on information, it's ironic just how much of the story is intentionally unclear. In fact, it wasn't until I replayed it for the sake of this review that I had any grasp on what was going on. Instead of explaining the significance of each area, the game just begins with you controlling Red as she pulls the Transistor out of someone's body. She's then attacked at every turn by robotic entities known as the Process, which start to, for lack of a better term, simplify the entire city. This lack of explanation, and the sense of confusion that creates, is meant to represent how Cloudbank is effectively a world with no past. It's like everyone wakes up and the previous day just doesn't really matter because everything's changed so much. Fortunately, this game found a very unique way to tie the story and the gameplay together. Red fights the Process using various attacks or functions of the Transistor. Each function can be used as an active attack, an upgrade effect, or a passive ability, giving hundreds of possible combinations for you, the player, to experiment with. But the brilliant part is that every function represents a citizen of Cloudbank that was at least partially assimilated into the Transistor. By using a function in the active, upgrade, or passive slot, this unlocks or decrypts the profile of the character associated with that function. This means that if you want to learn about the world of Cloudbank and the people who live there, you're going to try out almost every combination imaginable. Eventually, Red makes her way back to the theater where she was attacked the previous night, and here she encounters the first member of the Camerata.
She's here. Look is. Hello again, Sybil. You.
Finally, we learn why Red was targeted. You see, Sybil was in love with Red, and had become jealous of Red's companion. As a result, Sybil lied to her fellow camaradas and assured them that Red would be alone that night after her concert. From the beginning, Sybil's goal was for Red's companion to get assimilated into the Transistor so that she could be with Red. Her plan almost worked, but Red and her companion ended up teleported across town with the Transistor still in him. Since then, Sybil has actually been waiting at the theater, hoping for Red to return, and the process has completely devoured her. Furthermore, the song that plays during this fight is called In Circles. It's one of my favorite tracks, and thanks Sybil's character, it seems to be a song about unrequited love, especially with this line. To make things even more interesting, as the fight progresses, the music changes too, becoming increasingly synthesized and warped. Once Sybil is defeated, you might expect similar boss fights with the remaining 3 members of the Camarada, but by now the process has engulfed most of the city, and the Camarada just confess their guilt.
To the people of Cloudbank, we did this. We, the Camarada, are responsible for inexcusable crimes committed against this city and her citizens.
Grant and Asher both commit suicide before the process could get to them, leaving only Royce, the engineer of the group. At this point in the game, you revisit previous areas that have now been completely processed. The blank whiteness that coats the world conveys an eerie sense of nothingness. The OVC terminals are shutting down, and some even grant Red administrative privileges, allowing her to change the environment. Cloudbank is in a sorry state, but eventually Red makes her way to Fairview, where she can place the Transistor into the cradle, which according to Royce, will stop the process.
Look, no matter what happens, just... I love you. You know that, right? It's time. Bye for now.
For some reason, this ends up taking both Red and Royce out of the city for the final showdown. This is quite the duel.
Who gets to go first?
Royce can execute functions and stop time just as you can. It's rare, especially in a game like this, to fight against someone who has the exact same abilities as you, the player. But the arena for this fight is the true mystery. The background is littered with transistors. There is a rural aspect, which makes it seem like the country that characters often refer to as some sort of afterlife. And then there are these silos containing the traces of each character who's been assimilated into the transistor. If Cloudbank is an allegory for a cloud computing network, is this the server that hosts everything? To this day, there doesn't seem to be a clear answer. But after her fight is over, Red finds herself back on the bridge, right next to where the game began. Now, there's something I should mention. Unlike the kid from Bastion, who was basically a proxy for the player, Red is very much a character in her own right, and her backstory as a singer tells us a lot about her. Each song is significant to the plot or foreshadows specific events, even when she's just humming. As a result, unlike Bastion, where you, the player, get to decide what happens, this time, it's Red who gets to make her choice.
What are you doing? Wait, what are you doing? Red. Don't you do it. Don't you dare. Don't do this. Please. If you do this, Red, please don't. Wait. Red.
This ending has sparked a lot of controversy, but I don't think it's supposed to be interpreted as a suicide. The song that plays during the credits, Paper Boats, and the final scene with the two of them together make this clear. After her duel with Royce, Red had obtained the ultimate power to reshape Cloudbank to her will. But what is the point of having complete control over a world if there's no one to share it with? Once she realizes this power cannot bring her companion back, she decides that there's no point in staying in Cloudbank any longer. She knows it's a one-way trip. She knows what she's giving up, but Red's choice makes it clear how much she loves a man whose name we never know, whose face we never see, but whose voice makes it clear he loves her just as much. And that's all for my analysis. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below.
You can